I call to order the meeting of July 27th, 2026, Monteagle City Council meeting. We'll start with the prayer.
All right. Our gracious God, loving Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to enjoy a time of consideration of the government of the city of Monteagle. We're thankful for the place that we live, and we're thankful for your provisions for us, continuing to watch over situations we face and helping us with the challenges we face with the various expenditures and various things we're trying to conduct, and citizens of Monteagle to have a beautiful place to live. And we just thank you indeed for the opportunity granted us, and pray that you be with our first responders, our EMS people, and the fire department, police department. Continue to watch over them and this body that governs. We pray that you'd help us. Guide us, we pray, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Here.
Here.
Wyatt.
Here.
Dean.
Here.
Here. Thank you. We have a quorum. Everyone's here. You have in your packet the minutes from the previous meeting. Is that the minute today? Unless there is serious corrections or alterations, I'll take a motion to accept the 5 public hearing meetings of June 29th. I'm sorry? Okay, well, there was a public, okay. I'll accept the motion to accept approval of the minutes of the public hearing June 29th, 2026.
I'll make a motion we accept the minutes for the public hearing on June 29th, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next one is the set of minutes from the council meeting of June 29th, 2026. I'll accept the motion to accept those minutes as submitted.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any corrections or additions to the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. They're approved. A motion to accept the minutes of July 6th, 2026.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. There was a special called meeting on July 14th, 2026. We received those minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That's the last one. And finally, minutes of a workshop July 20th, 2026. Is there a motion to accept?
Make a motion to accept the July 20, 2026 meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I did not call for opposition because it sounded as though we all approved the minutes as submitted. And thank you, Debbie, for the job you do in keeping those straight. Citizens' comments. Any citizen wish to be heard at this time? Please.
Hello everyone, I wanted to reintroduce myself. I came to your meeting a couple months ago. My name is Pixie Kilgore and I'm running for County Commissioner, District 2, Seat B in the Marion County General Election on August 6th. Early voting is underway right now up through Saturday until 12 o'clock. There's also a second location in Whitwell today and tomorrow until 4 for early vote. Wanted to say I had a great experience with Iva recently. Did an interview with her on the Mornings on the Mountain show, and I appreciate that experience. Marion County is growing a lot, and I would like to be a part of that growth to make sure and see through to the infrastructure about roads, water, sewage, whatever, to support that growth, because we all want smart, informed growth. And so I would like to be a part of that, and I just want to reintroduce myself. Many of you guys, I did a mailer for the Monteagle registered voters, so you can put a name to the face. So I appreciate you guys, and if anybody has any questions, you can follow me on social media, Kilgore, for County Commissioner of District 2. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming up. For those of you not familiar, Monteagle is in 3 counties, Franklin, Marion, and Grundy. So Ms. Kilgore is for the Marion County slate. Any other citizen wish to be heard at this time? Okay. Various communications, it looks like we had a good turnout for the street dance Saturday and the mountain market this weekend. So thank you to all those that helped. The Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for August 4th at 4 p.m. I'll just try to when we get to the street department. And our next meeting will be August 31st, 2026 at 5 p.m. That's all I have now, and as they say on television, I reserve the right. So, let's go to reports, police department. And if you don't mind, we're going to follow the same policy. They have your report, so if there are questions or anything you want to highlight, otherwise it's not necessary to read it to them. Same for the fire department when you come up. Go ahead, thank you.
I don't have anything to highlight. If y'all have any questions, I can try to answer for you.
We were supposed to work out the public records request form. Is that correct?
I'm bringing it up.
It seemed like the numbers were all up a little bit over previous months, over everything. Is that just increased activity or?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And then we were going to work on a contract or something for the officers that are employed with Monteagle that would go to the academy that would be reimbursed. What did we do about that?
I have not done anything on that on my side. I think we were going to discuss that at one of the workshops in August.
Debbie sent us must have been a former policy for us to review.
I thought last month we talked about the fact that, I think, Mary, you were going to talk to the MTAS or maybe their attorney to ask about how we can handle that contract.
Yeah, and I have not.
Okay.
I apologize, I have not done that yet.
Make sure we make a note, maybe get that
Yes.
discussion started before the next meeting.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring up these public record request responses.
While you're doing that, there was, maybe I'm missing it on this sheet, we were gonna get some more detailed reporting on the public, or the assist,
Mutual aid.
mutual aid, thank you.
Yes, sir. It's up there on top. We had 3 Grundy County assist, 1 domestic, 2 house alarm calls they mutual aided us on. There's also one that wasn't on the list. It was a mutual aid with TBI on the fire call that was taking place in the county. They required our assistance on it.
Okay, and are there any, sorry, I didn't see it on there. Was there any assist that we requested?
There's not anything listed, and there's none in my knowledge.
So these 3, Grundy County, and then I guess the 4th, the CBI, those are all them requesting assistance from us.
Yes.
And do we being the police department generate that report, or is that something 911 comm center data information is used, or how do we generate that report?
So Grundy County, when they mutual aid us, it'll go through dispatch. So 911.
Okay. So Monteagle Police Department just refers back to the dispatch to see, I guess on the log sheets or whatever, to see what that is?
Yes,
And if we wanted to get a little more detailed report of what took place or what the outcome was, we would go to Grundy County to get that?
correct. So when we assist on theirs, like their domestic and the house alarms, we stand by, keep the peace until a deputy gets there. They're still responding, we're just closer, so something like a domestic, it can be violent. We get there first to make sure it doesn't become worse.
But those details, you guys don't write up those details?
No,
It's Grundy County?
Everything gets turned over to Grundy County because it's their call. They were just there to help. Unless we have to use force or something, then we would do a report.
Yeah.
Outside of that, we do not.
Okay.
Do we have a written policy in the police department about use of force?
Yes, sir, we do.
Any other questions on the police department report? Thank you. Fire department?
Well, hang on, we need to choose one of these public records request response forms.
Oh, I thought that was, I'm sorry. Go ahead, choose one.
Do you have a preference?
What was the other one besides that?
The other one has many fewer check boxes.
Yeah, it says, Monteagle Police Department Public Records, request form Tennessee 100, in parentheses, Tennessee Public Records Act, TCA 110-7503.
I thought there was a newer one than that one. You don't have copies yet.
These are the two, both of them represent, reference TCA 107-503.
But that one, like I said, has a whole lot more boxes, but basically, the person is going to, if they're entitled to receive the request, they're going to get what they're requesting, correct? I mean, it makes no difference which one you use.
Well, I like the first one because the first one creates a record if in fact it's denied. And so that then we can go back and say, okay, well,
What was the reason for that?
yeah. On this other one, it makes the assumption that we're always going to grant it. And, with ongoing investigations, we did say that there were times that we didn't want to.
Which one are you saying is the better, that you like better?
The one with the more check.
The one with more check boxes,
Yeah.
because it gives a rationale for request denied, so if we're in council doing an inquiry later, we can see why.
I do think that would be the better. From my opinion.
I agree with that. I think on that one though, I like the fact that it's got the record, a blank space to describe something. I think this either needs a second page or it looks like it could all be moved up and give yourself some space on the bottom. Yeah, space on the bottom here for a written description.
For this,
No,
this one, for the public's
yeah,
records requested.
put that space up into the first form. Because this one just doesn't have it's just check box instead of a place to explain. I think there might be some situations where an explanation, I like the check boxes. I like this.
True, it doesn't even have a place to put what's being requested. It's a good point.
So it's kind of a combination of the two, honestly.
So the second one.
So actually, these two both go together. So the first page, if you look at the bottom, it should say page 5, the one that's got the part. You can write what's being requested. And the second part is the response to the record request. So it says.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, well.
So it is, that is the record request is the first one. and
They're one and the same.
Next one would be the response that would be done.
I got you, okay.
So it's a two-page form.
It's a two-page form, we don't have to choose.
Okay, well, tell Chief he messed that one up. He told us to choose one.
Okay.
All right.
Do we need the motion?
I choose both of them.
Do we need to
Make a
approve
motion.
this officially as our form?
So
Is there a motion?
Sure, Bob.
to adopt the two-page Monteagle Police Department Public Records Request and Response Forms. So moved.
Is that a motion? Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Fire Department?
Whatever, I think there's a little bit under each one of the sections of codes and all that, so I don't know if Travis put it together for y'all.
He usually sends it separately.
He gave us a report, don't you have this report?
They made this real paper.
Oh, so we've only got a paper copy.
Here, please. She said she gave you a copy. Is there anything special you have to report? No, okay. Anything on building that you know or ordinances?
No, the ordinance, we've talked to both, 2 food trucks in town, I've been working with that. There was, I think, anywhere between 12 and 16 business served for dumpster enclosures. Had about 4 that has completed that, and 3 or 4 that's working on it, still in conjunction with the rest on working with them. Fireside, just as usual, doing training and stuff like that. I don't think there's anything new on Fireside either. And then he just got the general building permits that he's following up with on the building side.
Any aldermen have questions on the fire report? Yes, sir.
Yeah, the landing zone out there, I'm hearing ambulance personnel, other people talking about going in from the Chinese restaurant that's beside the ballpark fence that
Right.
on back, that there's potholes and it needs something done. And I think we talked about a year or 2 ago when there was trucks and stuff parking, obstructing that lane, that we might need to go through the ballpark and go back to the back where a fence had been damaged and put in gates.
I think it'd be nice. I think Travis talked to Greg a little bit about it.
We
It'd be
spoke
nice.
about it, and those potholes have been repaired running along the fence as we could to go through the park. The feeling is that it's not necessarily safe or proper as far as the road bed, etc. We can look at that again, but at the time, that was the comment.
Well, I could see if there was activity at the ballpark, that might create a safety hazard.
Right.
But I haven't seen any activity at the ballpark.
No, and that's part of the issue. We don't know when, if, how, if, as, and when. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And we see something from a lady in Tracy City, Cindy, that does the ballparks. They're hoping to have a team next year. What that means, I don't know.
Well, I went out there at the request of the ambulance service there, because they said they had a couple of calls and said it was literally causing safety issues with the patient that they were transporting back with. And I said, well, we had talked about changing that and going through the ballpark. So I went out there and I think somebody can look at that and come up. There's a couple of potential things to do, like taking those trees out on our side and widening that. And if we even had to put a barricade up between the lane for the ambulance and fire or EMS to go back there.
Like I said, I know there, and like you mentioned, there's a part of the fence damaged. So I don't know if we could go in that way. And the Chinese restaurant, it is very rough going out there.
Well, and the main thing before when it was brought up is that's not a right of way, is it? So
No.
we're
I
just
think it's all-
going through a business parking
I
lot.
think it's all their problem.
It's been used that way for years.
Yeah, I know.
So that's it. But
Yeah.
we can look again. I'm not sure that there's a decent road bed inside the fence.
Well, there is up until about 60 feet of it.
Well,
And I think for the safety for the community and welfare of the people, that even police and fire and especially the ambulance that are transporting the patients, we need to look at that as a project and see what would be involved and what the cost of that would be and what it would take to implement that. I don't think, we need to have public access to that landing zone.
I'll look at it again and see what we can do as far as access and,
Well, that might be something we need to talk about. Maybe that is one of the priorities. We talked about the road budget this year. Maybe that is one of the priority items for the road budget, that we've allocated some money for some different paving and stuff.
We looked at it the last time. It's really just too much rock. All it take.
Well, if they want to put up a gate that they can secure,
the gate and the fence and access, so you don't interfere with the landing zone itself.
Yeah, definitely. It wouldn't take paving or nothing like that. I'm like, hey, some good heavy duty rock with some crusher run over the top of it, probably handle that. It's solid enough back there that if you let the rest of it grass, it'll hold our trucks.
I'll take a look at it with Travis and Keith and
Yeah,
report
I
back.
think we could do it decent without costing too much. And then, because like Dean said, I don't know if there's any easement, right away, nothing down through there. So.
Okay. Any other questions on the fire report?
Yeah, AJ, you mentioned the food truck thing, you guys have issued some notices.
Yeah.
What's the one particular truck that's been given notice and talked to for a long, long time now? Are they on a time, are they on a clock? Are they?
Yeah, so that's the biggest one we've talked to, and there's another one down on this end of town that we've talked to. And we gave both of them. I know we gave the one on this end, on West Main Street side, we gave them a copy of the ordinance, and they seem like they're wanting to work with us. I think they've caught a loophole in the ordinance that it says it has to be moved. I don't know that it says it has to be moved off the lot. That's what me and Travis have been talking about, of what is the definition of being moved?
Yeah, well, it's not worth getting into a fight over
Right.
well,
But they have been told about their planners and to make it look permanent, but they have been told about that.
and do we have a timeline of when something's gonna get resolved, whether they're gonna come and work?
That's part of our workshop, the first Monday in August. We can resolve that in the science and deal with other stuff that workshop. But that's what was scheduled, as I recall. Any other questions for AJ? Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Utility manager, John, anything? Anyone have any questions of John?
I don't even know where to get through that.
You do?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
How are we on our water supply?
11 foot 6 inches.
On the,
That's a damn,
I assume there's water running over the spillway.
no, like about 2 inches.
Okay.
11 8 we're gonna go.
It's, I don't remember ever having this much water nearly in August. But the other thing, a couple of things I wanted to ask about, Mayor, I guess you'll know on this, Grundy County Consolidated Utility District thing, have we received a copy of the, contract between the caverns and the county on that?
No, not that I have. I have not received anything or heard from anyone on that subject.
What about the rate study?
Haven't seen that either.
What about?
Well, I met with the county mayor on the topic the week before last, and at that point, there was no contract with the caverns, and he did not anticipate a contract with the caverns until the rate study was complete. Because the rate study is going to dictate how much money it needs to make it financially solvent. I know there is a meeting tonight. Are you familiar with the meeting? The county commission is meeting tonight, and they're apparently going to debate an ordinance that would allow people who live alongside the sewer line to not connect to it. So if that passes, that will affect the finances of the sewer project. And so that'll go into the financial analysis, so.
So they've got until the middle of September before the next T-Board meeting to,
September 6th is the next meeting.
and they're not gonna get a rate study done by then, so I don't know what.
They assured the board, T-Board,
That's what
people
they-
that they would.
Yeah, so I'm worried, I'm not worried, I'm questioning whether they're gonna have all the material to even present at the T-Board meeting on September.
So I did talk to the fellow who's doing the rate study, and he did think he could have them something by September. I'm just a little, if they change the rules tonight, that's gonna change his work. But he was gonna give them 3 different scenarios.
Well, you still got the data, so it's just a matter of a fourth scenario with existing data and deleting the customer base on the water today.
But I hadn't talked to him to know. He had initially said he thought he could have something to it by September.
Have we notified the T-Board thing that we want to be on the agenda?
Nate is planning to attend, last I heard. I have not formally notified them.
I think
But
the
when you go
timeline
to the
on being
meeting?
on the agenda.
I would assume that it's 30 days. I had been assuming it's 30 days, so I had not sent my request to be on the T-Board board. I've started writing it, but I hadn't sent it yet.
So you'll do
We're
that?
doing this in the capacity of the town of Monteagle, or you're doing this
Well, what we had decided in our last workshop, I think, was that I was going to write it as in a personal capacity because I was the person that originally reached out to the comptroller and to the legislators. And then I was going to share that with the mayor and council, and we could see if y'all wanted to pull language from that to have it be something that was signed by the mayor. That's still the plan I'm operating under. I just haven't finished it yet.
But my feeling is that the town of Monteagle needs to go, and we did go on record as far as last month about saying we were not going to appoint a person on the board. But I think we still need to at the board hearing, express our position officially to the board, and it be a matter of record. Is my feeling,
Well, then I'll sign what you prepare, as long as it provides what the town's wishes.
and then that would be the official
For the
record
T-board meeting.
for the town of Monteagle.
But to be presented at the T-board meeting.
Yes, okay, because, we've got our own problems with rates and stuff without looking at additional rates being jacked up for somebody else's depreciation.
So I'm going canoeing with the scouts leaving next Tuesday, and the goal is to have this off my desk before I leave. So you guys will see at least my version, and that I think that'll give us, that's more than 30 days before the T-board meeting, so I think that's plenty of time. That's the timeline I'm working under. Provide a letter to y'all, and then hopefully we can turn that around.
Can we add to one of our workshop agendas, don't care which one, just a discussion about this to make sure we know what's going to be presented, who's going to present what on behalf of the city?
I was not planning to do anything orally on behalf of the city. I thought our letter was going to suffice. Simply because I kind of have been involved in reaching out to them. I was going to give my personal feelings as an alderman, and I'm
Weren't you
happy
going
to.
to appear? I
Yes.
thought you were going to go to the meeting.
Yes, my plan is to appear and speak at the meeting.
So earlier rather than later, if we could put that on one of our workshop agendas, let's sort out how we all want to, let's all get together and figure out who and what we want to present. I think Dean's right. I think we need to have a Monteagle, city of Monteagle, town of Monteagle, somebody there in official capacity there speaking on behalf. And if you want to do your personal thing because you've been involved in the regionalization, that's fine too, but I think we need a town presence.
Well, I agree. I think potentially this is the biggest thing that has come before the town of Monteagle that could adversely affect our utility customers in a negative way that's ever come.
Well, I never got a direct answer because I said, in my conversation with Mayor Brady, I said, you had talked about Grundy County, but that'd be all the Grundy County ratepayers. And I kind of got a yes answer, but not a definitive answer. So if you're going to pass that on countywide, you're absolutely right. You're going to have an impact.
And we have probably as many or more Marion County customers than we do Grundy County. And then we've got a handful, no, we don't have any Franklin, so that's Kimberly, or not Kimberly. Yeah.
Well, I think the good news is the comptroller and MTAS have said we have no obligation to join our assets with this as long as we are in financial good standing. So I think to your point, we need to focus on staying in financial good standing among ourselves,
Right.
because if we can't do that, then the comptroller can make decisions for us.
Yeah, that can put us with somebody that's in worse shape than we are.
Where, when, and if would any of this affect us in reference to the water authority that we've already met about on the plateau when we dealt with Tracy City and then hopes of expanding to Big Creek and Sud?
So that's the big unknown that's got, I think,
Exactly.
all of us.
I couldn't get an
Sort of got
answer.
lost in that.
I couldn't get an answer to that question. Go ahead.
There is the possibility that this remains a good opportunity to do that.
Yes.
But now, with the sewer project being tied to it, there's also a real possibility that it could be a torpedo. And so what I want to communicate to the comptroller and to TBOR is that there are good regional solutions available, and it is in their best interest and our best interest to keep those options open and not let what has happened or what might happen with the Pelham Sewer Project infect those conversations.
That would be my hope.
Yeah, to keep it separate.
Any other discussion on utilities? Okay. Planning Commission we'll get to later. We have ordinances and some other issues to address. Beautification and Tree Board.
Well, I hope everybody went to the Monteagle Mountain Market this past weekend. I thought it was great, and we need to thank Linda Brookhart for working with that committee. It was not an easy task.
Thank you.
In fact, Scott told her she should have walked out on the last meeting because of such fun. Anyway, and Beth Reiner put together the authors group, which was really excellent. And we're actually, Ava doesn't know it, but we're talking about doing a book fair separate from the mountain market because people didn't know they were coming to see all these authors. So anyway, that's one thing. The tree board is going to be meeting soon, and we are working on our application to be designated a tree city so that we can get some funding through that designation. Beautification, the mayor and I will be meeting with a group of people on Wednesday who want to do more landscaping around the library and community center. And if you haven't been over to the community center, you need to just go see what Pat and Peggy, two sisters, have done at the community center. They have really perked it up and are doing some wonderful things every day, Monday through Friday. They are working with, or just supporting people who come in and need something to do. Tourism. Iva and I will be meeting with people next Wednesday to talk about our Tennessee 250 event in October, where we will bring historical figures alive. We'll have people who will be John Moffett and other people will be talking about who those people should be other than John Moffett. I think that's a given. We're also through tourism having a bike survey that the state is sponsoring, and after we get it done, we will be given $3,000 to do with however we want. So if you're invited, please attend to make it a good event. The other thing is you have in your packet the concept for the Veterans Park, and I hope you looked at it. Thomas has done a really good job. Are you going to pull it up?
Yes. I need to. Let's see. Looks like counterclockwise is the way to go.
There we go. He's done a really nice job. What we're talking about doing is a path rather than a really big patio, is a path that will leave from the parking lot over here and go around up to an area where the American flag will be. As people walk down the path, there will be the other armed forces flags. And so he's given us specs. Our thought, okay, how am I going to say this? His specs are very, very high. I don't know how to say it.
Detail?
Well, they're detailed, but what I'm saying, they are the best. It's not the cheapest way to do it. It's the most expensive way to do it. And so the mayor and I were talking about the fact that we could put in a concrete walk. And we have people in town who can do patios and do stonework and put flags up, that kind of thing. So we need you all to look at it, because this is a council project, to look at it, think about it, and discuss how you want to see it. One of my ideas is to use Jamie Chernicky and Stephen Hutchins to do the wall that will say Veterans Park and will face Highway 41. Use our local people to do it.
So one thing on that, first question, did we officially adopt this version versus the other
I
one?
think we did.
Okay.
And then there were some numbers and some other things that budget-wise and some other projects that we were doing, and there were some dollars estimated for this project, I think.
In our current budget?
No, not in the budget, in
Oh.
our workshops that we were
Okay.
talking about.
So one thing I want to put out there is, I like the idea of using local. The problem we're going to run into is competitive bidding that we're going to have to comply with, whether it's a grant that we get this money for, or whether the city pays for it itself. We can't just say,
Right.
okay, Stephen, you can do it, or
Right.
something. So as in terms of having to put out a competitive bid package for 3 or more vendors, we need to think about, that'll play into how high end we want to do this.
Right.
And I think I heard Dean say months ago that we don't want to do something kind of halfway.
No.
So I think we need to, however we can, move forward with getting a quote for this, or putting a bid package together that we can send out to a variety of people. We can look at how much potentially, after we get those quotes back, how much we can do in-house with our own staff. But I think the next step is, let's get a bid package together, let's figure out what these numbers are, then we can see if we need to attack this and find the money in our budget, or whether we need to go after a grant to pay for this. But either way, I just want to caution everybody that we're going to have to go through a bid process. It's going to exceed the threshold for just single saying, okay, here, go do this, Rob.
Right.
Grant, you're right, and I think, Dean, I've asked him to work on coordinating the consultant with Doreen to maybe help us with grants and some guidance, and maybe even help us put a bid package together. But I understand, and you're right, we'll have budget considerations, but I think the next step, Dean, correct me if I'm wrong, we were setting a date that she could appear, or?
Doreen, do we have?
She's available all this week, so Dee and I have been talking.
Good,
So when
good.
you can get a date, let us know.
Okay, and I'm assuming, like on addition of trees and so forth, that we can go through your committee on that as far as selection of the type and size.
Yes.
And all of that would be a component of the Veterans Park, but it would be basically recommended by your committee on that.
Yes.
And then I think we need to work out the details about, and I think, Nate, I think you should be able to give us some cost estimates, like on the walking part. I envision it being kind of like, maybe not as wide, but like the GO Trail, as far as the material versus concrete.
So asphalt instead of concrete.
Yeah. But we need somebody that's done some of that work and can give us some figures that we can depend on. And then, and if we have to, we can do this in 2 phases if we have to, as far as budget years. But I think we need to get the groundwork of that done with some solid cost estimates.
Yeah, I'm happy to. But I'd also like to hear what this person has to say about getting grants.
Yes, yeah, we will, yes, yes.
Okay.
I have a question about design. It occurred to me the other day when I was looking at it, and I don't know that it has to be this way, but right now we've got the American flag at the end, and we've got a bunch of existing tall canopy trees between it and the roadway. So it's going to be fairly well obscured. And I wonder if we reversed and put the American flag at the street, it might do a couple of things. One, it would make it more prominent, but two, one of the things that I've noticed over the years of volunteering at Monteagle is we tend to have a whole lot of American flags, and not all of them are well taken care of because sometimes they're out of sight. So any of y'all who've done the Memorial Day parade or the Memorial Day flag raising when we did it in front of City Hall, sometimes you'd be raising a flag in front of the fire hall, and the one at the police station and the one at the 911 station was in terrible shape at the same time. And I wonder if we move the American flag to the front, could that be our flag for the community center and City Hall as a single flag?
I would hope so.
Another one we need to deal with. And then the folks at the Werner Military Museum have said they'd be willing to work with us, with the Army, to help us get a piece of steel. And if we had that piece of steel, whatever it was, whether it's a tank or Jeep or whatever, if that were at the end of the walk, it would still give a destination to the walk, but it would be a destination that would sort of stand alone. I put it out there. I had thought the other day.
That's an interesting idea.
Well, I think the American flag should be the first thing you see.
Yeah, so if that would put it right up here at this end rather than
And that's not gonna change the cost or
I wouldn't think so.
It's just a matter,
Okay.
it'll be the largest flagpole and the largest flag, and it goes in slot A instead of slot G.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just afraid no matter how big it is, it's going to be obscured by those trees.
Okay, well, we can work on that with the consultant too, but it's a good point. Do you have anything else?
That's it.
Okay, any other questions of Martha Ann?
Yeah, Martha, one question. You said on the additional landscaping for the community center, is that part of the budget that we approved from last time, or have you spent?
We have no idea what these people are interested in doing, so we're just going to talk to them first and see what's going on.
Do you remember how much of the what was it, 30, I think it was
3,500.
3,500 for the buildings, was that right?
Mhm.
Do you know how much of that we've expended already on the back side here?
I don't know.
How much, Debbie, do you know how much the bench was? You haven't ordered it? Oh,
I'm just, the reason I'm asking is because that
yes.
has fallen into since we delayed on it, it's fallen into this budget year, and it's coming out of the Imagine Monteagle Fund. So I just want to keep track of what those expenditures are, so I know what we have left for other projects.
Right.
We have a whole year to go.
Well, that's why the mayor and I are going to talk to them. I have a feeling that some of it is they want to pay for it themselves and just want approval, but I don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Martha. Grant, you want to go ahead with the Imagine Monteagle, please?
Yeah, really, I don't have anything with Imagine Monteagle right now.
Okay.
There's one grant left out there that we're waiting to hear on. We'll find out in August. But other than that, we've still got a few projects on our list. We just are looking for some of the funding sources for them. There's a bunch of funding cycles coming up in the fall, so I'll give a better update later.
All right. Alderman, Nate? I'm sorry, Dean?
I think I've already talked about, rest area. You know, have we had any correspondence about, we were going to send a letter and there's going to be a two-thing approach as far as safety and our utility revenue?
I didn't send the letter, I mentioned all that, and they said it's up to Nashville and they're doing their study. They understand all the points, they have certain objectives in mind, and whatever the study shows, so.
Is there some kind of, have they issued some kind of a report of what they are doing, or is this somebody in the basement doing it, or
It's
the commissioner authorized it?
It's all been verbal. They said the budget provides for a study and they're going to do the study. That's as far as I got.
Do you know, Mayor, was this a study of just our rest area or all rest areas in
Statewide.
general? State, okay.
Statewide.
But I think we should contact our state representatives. I mean, I think this is a critical thing for the town. As a water and sewer customer, Debbie, didn't we estimate like 50,000 a year or something, revenue, customer? And we're gonna need those dollars, and some more. I just think we need to, do more than what we're doing as far as with our legislators or whatever the process is.
I've met with legislators. I met with Iris Roder and I've mentioned it to Senator Gardenhire. And they will look into it.
Well, but to me, they ought to send us some kind of correspondence.
Oh, well. If any exists, and I'm not sure if any exists the way they're talking.
Well, but
I can
they
ask them
need
if
to
it-
create some of
They
what
need-
they're doing.
Okay.
And of course, they're out of session until January now.
Well, TDOT's not.
They're gonna be able to turn the bridges down.
No, as I announced, that is going out to bid February of
27, not October of 26. The bidding process starts then. Do you have anything else?
No, sir.
Grant?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Dan?
Yes, I'd like to commend the effort for the Arts and Crafts Show this past weekend. It looked like it was done well. They were pretty organized, getting things, people in and everything put together. It didn't seem like it was as big as it has been, but I think it was very well attended. Yes, the best I could tell. So I appreciate everybody that did that. It did bring a lot of extra people into town, and if you were at McDonald's, you probably had to wait a little longer to get your hamburger. But it was a good thing. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for that.
Well, it looks very clean out there. I assume the city today cleaned all that up?
Well, the 10 people came for their tents, and we had
Some
some
garbage and all, I mean, all that.
all that's in the dumpster that the chamber got, but yes, we had people helping and they cleaned up pretty well
Well,
themselves.
the guy that's coming back to work for it, Joe, is that his name?
Yep,
I saw him over there Saturday and
Yes.
I didn't know, I said, I didn't know you were coming back this soon. He said, well, I'm not. He said, I'm here for this.
yeah.
And he said, I'll be back in 2 weeks, I think he said.
August 3rd.
Okay, but anyway, he was over there just,
Well,
working. And I saw him Sunday as well.
Yeah, the chamber pays them directly, that's,
Oh,
we
okay.
gave them some people to call, he was
Okay.
willing to do it, and that's how that worked, it's not a city employee. Okay, Nate, anything?
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on our workshop where we talked about parks. So for the citizens who may not be aware, our last workshop that we had last week was talking about parks in Monteagle, both present and future ones, and how to secure them and how to plan for new ones. And so we've got an opportunity to apply for some funding that we plan to do. I believe it's due in December. So my question is, how do we, who's the lead on that grant and making sure we get that in? That was question one. And then question two was, in order to pursue larger amounts of funding, we need to do a comprehensive recreation plan for the town of Monteagle. And that's something that, according to the state, is going to take several months for us to put together. And so I wanted to kind of get a sense from the board of when we wanted to begin that process.
Well, I don't know, I was going to start the process with state funding and not get into the complicated federal funding.
Right.
I believe you wanted to tie all our park ventures together in one great
I
thing, but we later said we should break that out, right?
Exactly, yeah, so the state funding opportunity, the deadline is coming up. And I
Yes.
just want to make sure that we know who the point person is and who who's leading that effort? Are you going to lead that effort?
No, Grant will lead the effort getting grants, but I will work closely with him.
Hang on, time out.
That's all I was
Because
asking.
well, we've all had conversation with the state representatives. So I think we need to follow that up with whoever we're using for grants.
All right, let me think about that, because I'm not sure I'm going to commit myself to that particular grant. I think first conversation needs to be with SCTD, or SC, whatever they are, and see if they'll apply for that on our behalf. That, is part of the service that we pay for from them, and I think we need to use it. So I think we should reach out to them initially. Nate, as far as the recreation plan, I think we've got a lot of time to do that since we're not going after the federal funds quite yet. But again, we need to, somebody's going to have to step up to the plate and lead that initiative. And did you ever find the old one? Did you say that there was one existing?
I did not find it in my files. I need to ask Patrick because we had a pile of those documents that we used for notice of planning for some of the grant funding that the Mountain Goat Trail got. And I feel like we used it, but it wasn't in my files, and so I still need to ask Patrick.
Okay, because that was going to be a huge jump start instead of starting this thing from scratch, which is going to take a lot of time and effort and thought, and probably more than just a single person. But if you can come back to the table and find out if we've got something to start with, then we can talk about who's going to lead that.
Did you have a chance to look for it?
I thought we hired somebody that was doing grants. His name wasn't Grant.
His name was not Grant.
No, I'm serious. I thought we hired him.
We did. Unfortunately, that person does not have the time that they originally thought they did to help us.
So we no longer have that.
We should no longer be using that. I'll say it that way. We do have somebody that has been helping me with some of the Imagine Monteagle projects, looking at grants and all. I will talk to her, but she's doing it on a volunteer basis, and we are kind of stretching ourselves with her a little bit right now. I don't want to overburden her with some things, and she's doing this out of the kindness of her heart. So,
Well, if we can meet tomorrow morning for 15 minutes, and I'll get back on track. I wasn't aware of all of that. I heard there's some things. But if we could meet tomorrow or talk tomorrow, that'd be a big help for me.
okay.
So in the workshop, we just met with two park officials, Tennessee State Park officials, and we're given some guidelines about organizing possibly a larger portion of some of the area in Monteagle for parks. Namely around the Laurel Lake area, there's some land available out there to turn into a park, and that's what we're looking at as an additional park for Monteagle.
And I think that's where the recreation plan is important, to find out whether the community members think that that's a priority.
So, Mayor, if you could just call SCTD and ask them, we have a new person, just ask them if they can write that grant for us for the state part,
Yes.
which is for Harding Park.
I will.
And then we'll figure out the other later.
I'll sit down with you and go over that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll confirm or look and get with Debbie, and we'll both look and see if we can find the old red plan. But related to the idea at Laurel Lake, so I circulated with y'all an MOU, which is non-binding, that just sort of lays out, hey, we think this might be a good thing. We're going to have to pursue funding. We understand that. Having now, with everybody having reviewed that, do y'all think that's something that is worth having a further conversation with them about? Again, it's non-binding on both parts. It just says, hey, we own this property. We might like to have it be a park, and it's the town saying, we might like to have it as a park, but we need to do some more homework.
Well, I'll say out loud what I shared with you and probably shared with others. If I were the owner, I would put it in Tennessee Conservancy, get my tax advantages, and leave it as a park or land undeveloped. Your approach is that the town own it. Is that correct?
The federal funding would require a public entity to own.
Yeah. But absent public funding, the owner could say, It's land.
Absent public funding, it's not
No, but
liable
the
to go
owner,
forward.
but the owner could do that if he spoke to the owner, right? Other land has gone to the Tennessee Conservancy and all sorts of land deals in Tennessee.
That doesn't help our community members, that doesn't make it a public park.
So we'd have to expend X dollars for a public park and getting federal funds.
We would have to be involved in the process if it's going to be a city park.
Well, then, let's open it for discussion then, Alderman. Anyone have any feelings?
Well, I think we need to do the comprehensive study thing, regardless of whether it does or doesn't or anything else. I mean, we're world famous for doing studies, and that's one that ought to be at the top of the list.
Going back to your MOU, which is a good question, I didn't have a problem with it personally. If the mayor signs it or you sign it or something, if it shows good intent on both ends, then that's fine. I didn't have a problem.
I think the mayor should be the signature, so I think, we need to tell them that it needs to be edited. And I think the first thing is I'm not an authorized signature for the town.
Well, we would need to do a resolution. The body, the council body would need to approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign that. Would that not be true?
Yeah. I don't know, Nate did it, his name is in it, we all saw the
Well,
draft. Now, if you want to change that, let's have a resolution and do what you want to do. But let's do something. So what are we doing?
So I would put forth a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the MOU as presented and signed to us. Obviously, that's removing my signature block, but otherwise leaving it unchanged.
In the draft that we saw, and non-binding on the thing.
Well, it's signed by their party, so the ones you saw, he could simply go
Yes.
mark through my name,
But
get my resolution,
I'm
and
just
sign
letting,
that
for
one.
the public's benefit, we're not spending any money up
Correct.
front right now, and we're just pursuing it, subject to lots of things falling in place, mainly the grant cycles and so forth.
I'll second your resolution.
That was a motion, and Grant seconded. Please repeat your motion.
The motion is to authorize the mayor to sign the MOU as presented and signed by both landowners.
I second that, so again. Second to second.
Okay. All right, motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Roll call. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion carries. Okay, under old business, second reading of ordinance 06-26, the site plan submission. I'll accept a motion to accept that on the second reading.
I'll make a motion that we accept the ordinance number 06-26 on the second reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion?
You've had the public hearing?
Oh, if there are any citizens wish to discuss the site plan submission, can we give them the highlights of that? This is part of your checking procedure.
Here it is.
An ordinance to amend section 1005, the site plan submission and staff review of Monteagle zoning ordinance. And it says therefore, as amended as follows, the applicant shall submit 3 copies. It's basically what we're trying to do is refine the submission process so we go through it once instead of back and forth and back and forth. So this is an amended proposal or ordinance to section 1005 of the site plan. And it outlines the process.
Is this supposed to streamline the process and instead of it getting bogged down and taking months for potential developers to get answers?
Tells the applicant or developer what to do so they can move forward without a lot of bumps in the road.
It basically starts all processes with us at City Hall, rather than before some things started at City Hall and some things started at Southeast Development, and Southeast Development had to tell Town Hall and our engineer wouldn't do some things, and this puts it all in our court, and he has, assuming we create a person whose job it is, we designate someone whose job it is
As he
to
looks
make,
at me.
to make sure that the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed.
And one important thing in here is we're starting to charge fees, correct?
We're starting to charge fees for the engineering review of water and sewer.
So it says for tracts of 1 acre or less, $150.
Yes, that's the deposit.
It's a deposit, it may not take that. So if it's simple, if there's already a meter there, it may come back. But
The issue is more commercial, residential, if there's a question. But the question is there water there? Is it adequate? Is there sewer or not sewer? You have to go to the state. You don't get involved with septic tanks. You refer them to the state because you may not have a sewer line there that can take any more capacity. And that's the issue. There may be a sewer line there, but with everything that's on it, it can't take any more. Same thing with water. A 2-inch line has a maximum, I think, of 5 or 7 houses.
We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with the engineer on some of these proposed, like the first phase of I&I thing. And we've got great maps that show every sewer line, every water line. And can they not color code those to show capacity? I mean, I can see if it's something major they need to review, but if somebody on Lane Avenue wants a water tap, it appears to me that our utility department should have the mapping system and the basic information to approve that without jumping through a bunch of hoops.
No, and I'm familiar with Lane Avenue. I've been there more than once. It's a water line extension, requires a T-deck
Well, I was
filing.
using that.
Well, or that's it, if it requires T-deck, and most of it does for water line extensions and sizing water lines and sewer lines. And that's why I said the first stop should be utilities, because if the utilities don't measure up, there's no need in the developer spending any more money.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, for the individual on Lane Avenue, they don't have to submit a site plan request anyway.
Well, and I was just using that as someone that asked for a water tap. It could be anywhere in Monteagle or outside the city limits or wherever.
So I don't think this would apply to an individual doing a single residential tap.
No, it's more-
But a subdivision.
Requiring a site plan.
Yeah. It needs to
Site
require
plan
a site
required.
plan. Yeah.
Any further discussion on the motion? The what? Oh, I'm sorry. Any public comments or questions on this matter? Alderman, any further discussion on the motion?
We've never done this before, so this can act as our public hearing?
Yes. Roll call. Roll call vote.
Dean,
Pass.
Grant,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Okay, next on the list is the alleyway that we've been discussing for a while, that involves the Fox property, the Trahan property, and the Black property. I mention them only as neighbors. Chris, would you like to present the situation? And I see other property owners here, they can address it as we discuss this.
I think we went over it last time, so if there's any questions you guys have, I'd like to discuss.
So Chris, explain why the ordinance from 2016 where the council, or council abandoned these 2 unnamed alleys, which appear, at least in my head, to be the alleys, so that the city had abandoned those, which turns it back over to the property owner, split down the middle or something. So
Those were on the other side of Assembly Avenue. They were behind the car wash that was there.
all right,
If you look at the maps, there was 2 alleys that went into that field off of West First Street on that side of Assembly Avenue.
the map's a little fuzzy, but I certainly thought this was coming out of the curved road coming out of Hardin Park, and then over to Assembly, and that this was the I thought this was the road that you wanted to block off. Here's your building, here's Richard Black's house. Assembly is over here.
My building's on the other side.
Not if Main Street's right here. College Street here.
This is Celery Avenue. This is
That's Highway 41.
This is the highway. This is Celery
And have we looked at, okay. I'm just wondering, because I thought this thing got settled before, and I assume you and Richard Black and the Assembly have all spoken about this whole thing, and have you guys come to any kind of agreements, documented agreements on?
Documented, no, just verbal.
Because I don't mean to make you spend money or anything like this, but I guess I was assuming originally that this ordinance from 2016 kind of settled everything, and then it was just going to be an agreement between y'all. I'm curious to know if we
I was
could.
excited about that. When I really overlaid the maps, it was on the other side.
I just wonder if a survey, having a surveyor go out in the field and actually let's verify that these are the places that you don't think are appropriate I can't imagine why we abandoned something that.
You've got something that nobody else has, though. That's not good.
This is from a while ago.
But those that were abandoned, you said were West College Street, but behind the car wash, which would have went by the bank.
Right.
And then it would have connected down at 41 to go to Pelham. Years ago, they said West College came all the way through there.
I believe so. Well, I guess where West First Street goes along the other side of the Assembly, that's where they came off of into that field. So maybe there have been some houses there at some point that were.
But a couple of years ago, the Assembly, we addressed this issue, I thought, or you guys were here, and the people from the Assembly ground was here about the back alley, what was they called the.
Right.
And this is the
That was
same
Steve's
thing.
predecessor. That was and they didn't want the road closed because they had created a parking lot and they were having their employees enter and exit to the property.
And again, remind me, what do you want us to do? What are you asking us to do?
Really just more or less abandon the road. If we get a city attorney to do a quick claim deed just to give the property back to us that we paid for.
When you say to us, who are we talking about?
Our business, that was the property.
And they have no, Assembly and Richard have no claim to that road? And Katie, you guys wouldn't have any claim to that road?
Actually, well, it's probably more involved because I think the city has some, they're tied to part of it, we're tied to part of it. And what happened was, there was an issue originally when Chris and Kelly purchased the property from Richard. They had a modified deed because there was an issue with the property line. When it was finalized and recorded, the one that was recorded does not show the Fox with that property. So in reality, Richard probably still owns that property from a perspective of, if it was abandoned, it would go back to adjacent property owners. And the one that you're talking about, 2016, that was the Parton project. So when that was abandoned, Parton's owned it on both sides. So it was from the street. It was never getting developed. So Parton just absorbed it. So now that the property is abandoned, where Chris is talking about, you have to kind of get more involved with who does it go back to? Do they then deed it to Chris? And then you have to have an access easement for Assembly for us and for the Foxes. And for Richard, so he can.
So if we abandon it, then it's kind of y'all's mess to figure out.
Well, that's what you're starting to get into, yeah.
Right.
It's more involved with that, and I think when we all met out there a while back, there was going to be a drawing, so the Assembly, Steve could see it and agree with it, because his concern was to be able to go back there and have a turnaround. And the best way to have a turnaround with that would be like a hammerhead. We would still always keep access, the Fox would keep access, we would keep access, so fire trucks could still get through there with a gate and have either a knockbox on it with different type of ways to do it, key, strobe or noise, different type of things to access the Knox box. So a fire truck can still get there and back, but for deliveries, they would go up for the assembly in the back of the building. They would have a hammerhead to do a 3-point turnaround and be able to exit back out. But we would have a reciprocal access easement so that assembly crews could still access if they had to back there. You'd have to have utility easement because they still, so it's a little more than just.
So, okay, but if I can,
We don't have that proposal.
but can I chime in for a minute? There are a couple of things. First of all, Richard, I'd like to hear from you next. Second of all, I did meet with Chris at the site, and I understand that the placement of the gate or whatever would allow access to utilities on behalf of the assembly. Is that correct, Steve?
Yes.
Do you have any other issues with this road?
On our property, other than we're just losing access. And there was a utility easement that I was concerned about.
Right, but you, under this proposal, you have access to the assembly property and the parking area and picking up packages at the Pulliam Center, et cetera?
That's my understanding. I mean, I'd like to see that in a legal description or survey.
Or something, okay. Richard, do you have any comments?
Only thing is in this agreement, this is the legal description and the survey for when I bought it, which is not for when you bought it.
Right,
So
yeah.
this needs to be true now.
Well, if you go back a couple more pages.
But I
it
have
goes
no
to where-
problem as long as it's open behind my property. And I think from where Chris has told me he's gonna block it or do whatever he's gonna do, I have no problem with it.
And okay, now go ahead.
What is brought up, has there been an incident or something like that that's made you decide that you wanted this closed, that street
A couple
closed?
years ago, when we started this, there was an uptake in traffic. Of course, we have a camera back there, so we see all the cars that go through. We have since we built the building. But after COVID, the assembly had put a parking lot, toward that other side of the property there, and their employees would enter and exit to their property. And it was before it was like a mail truck once in a while or a UPS guy. And then it became, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 cars at a time, as they came to work or leaving work and going to lunch.
I would think we need
I
a
use
drawing.
that alley all the time.
Yeah, so go ahead. Well, one at a time.
I would think we would need a drawing and the description of it, and before we quit claim anything, I'm not opposed to it. I don't see that it would adversely affect the town of Monteagle or its citizens. I don't see any.
Doesn't service anybody, really.
Yeah, but I do think there would need to be something on paper for us to vote on instead of just saying we're going to quit claim, this legal description or.
Well, we don't have to quit claim anything, do we?
So,
I mean, if we abandon the road, then it's kind of, I'm sorry to throw it back on y'all, but if we abandon the road, then you guys gotta figure it out.
As I understand it, from the center line to the adjoining neighbors and the center line to the adjoining neighbors.
Well, the center line, it would still be the property that we initially
Again, but
purchased.
But that wouldn't be for us to have to do it quickly.
So it goes from the center line to 30 foot is all of our properties. It wasn't on 2 properties, it wasn't splitting properties. It
No,
was,
it's just whoever joins from the center line over.
So I want to make sure
so we lose 15 foot of the property to, I guess it'd
Yeah,
be,
but going towards the assembly, wouldn't it be Crabtree in the assembly?
it'd be the Crabtree. Yeah, that would get that 15 foot of the property that we purchased.
Is this street or unnamed street, whatever, is it on our list of named streets that we always refer to?
No.
it is, but it doesn't list a start and a stop.
Do the others list?
There's no signs on there.
So that road ordinance from, it was in 2012, the road ordinance that we refer to, there is a road ordinance that we refer to that is our official road list, and it lists First Street, and it lists Spur Avenue, but it doesn't say where they start and where they stop, and as you know, First Avenue starts and stops multiple times, so it's not very helpful.
Well, and the drive is 11 foot wide, so it doesn't meet the ordinance for an alley even.
I just want to make sure that, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I just want to make sure we're not trying to solve a problem that's not our problem to solve. I mean, it seems like we either abandon the road or we don't.
Right now, the assertion that we have made is that it is a public street, and if we choose to abandon it, then we are putting it off on someone else. I agree with Mr. Trahan it's not going to revert to Chris Fox because Chris Fox's deed exclusive, it sort of very clearly called the road out, that he did not get any interest in the road. So if we abandon it, it's just going to go to Richard.
Well, and again, I'm sure you're going to work with Richard and Steve and everything else to make this work, but that's not our problem. So I'm trying to figure out what negative effect does it have the city if we abandon this road?
So
I say none.
I think if we do it without having an adequate turnaround, then we do have a problem. And I think the last time we had a workshop, they were going to bring us a drawing for vehicles coming in from Assembly Avenue on the portion of First Street that dead ends behind Crabtree's house.
Would that not be part of the abandoned road? Would it not be from Assembly Avenue over to?
Well, that's Mr. Fox's proposal, as I understand it.
Yeah, it's just the 30-foot right-of-way that was added in the subdivision of our property, Mars Richards. That's when the 30-foot right-of-way was added. It wasn't there previously. So without telling us, the surveyor added that and then gave that property to the city. So it's, it's like the description that we were, looked at, we signed a contract on, that we paid for, we did not get. Because they took it pretty much, gave it to the city without telling us.
Okay, and if I'm understanding this correctly, this is a city road from basically the park or the end of the building there, over to Assembly Avenue. That is our road, right?
That's the road in question, yes.
Okay, so if we abandon the entirety of that, then why are we worried about a turnaround?
I don't think we would want to do that because then we have constituents in the assembly who want access to the podium building, which has a parking lot that is accessed by First Street. So I think we would not be serving them well. Richard Black, as a landowner on that street, just said as long as his portion of the street stays open, he has no objective to the rest of it. So I don't think it's in the town's interest to abandon the whole thing. So we would need to either keep it, abandon a portion of it, or I think we just need a drawing in front of us of a proposal that we can react to.
But I don't think the assembly has any issue.
Well, it's on the other side
Mr. Williams is here. You have
First
something,
Street
Steve?
Look, it creates complications for us, but we've discussed, because there are, look, 20 years ago, there weren't 10 UPS trucks and Amazon trucks and mail trucks every day. And the traffic is heavier there. It's not my property, which is what's in question at this point. If I have a dead end, if I have an ability to turn around in there for trucks to come in and deliver or employees to come in and turn around, I'm okay with it because I'm not going to get into an argument about who's around the corner and what's Fox's property and what's Richard Black's property.
But just to be clear, what Grant was asking about was abandoning the whole street from Assembly Ave over. That would adversely affect you, correct?
Well, now that we own the Parton property, we own both sides of that, so we already own it.
Oh, so it would revert.
We would have to have an
It would revert to us anyway, so we would have an agreement between.
An
Richard
interlocal
Black's-
agreement between us and
Between us.
Do either of you want the town to take action, or do you think you can work it out among yourselves to answer Grant's point?
I don't think we can work it out among ourselves until you release it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we abandon it,
Yeah, you got to abandon it.
everybody, all the parties are comfortable that they can figure something out.
No.
And should we abandon, in your opinion, on whether we should abandon the entirety of that from Assembly Avenue over to around the little, where it goes around the curve to the park? Or do you want just abandonment of part of it, which in my mind, from a city perspective, doesn't make any sense? But
Well, I think you're abandoning the piece we're talking about. I think you're abandoning it all because the trailer's already on the piece that goes to spur, right?
Trahan's own, when they bought their land, it included that part of the road.
would any of the parties have an objection if we abandon the entirety from Assembly Avenue to the park?
Are you gonna give it to us? I don't have a problem.
Whoever it falls to. I mean,
No, I'm kidding.
We're not giving it away, that's the thing. It falls to whoever it falls legally. We step out of the picture after.
Yeah, and I think that's fine, but I think Chris has some concern because what he feels what's on that road is on his property that he thought he bought. And it will revert to Crabtree for center line of that when you guys abandon it. By law, that's what it has to go. You'd have to split that line to it. And the only part that's in question is from our property to the Assembly property, because that was the only part that was, I think, recorded as a road when Richard sold it to the folks. And that's where everything kind of got a little muddy.
Does this have to go to the planning committee?
I would think so. They're not doing anything that's already building.
I think from my perspective, I would like to see a written proposal from all property owners affected, and I certainly think we can come to some agreement, but just, we have a lot of things hanging out here and unknown, and I don't feel comfortable just abandoning it and letting them figure it out, because I think that's a good recipe to disenfranchise someone.
Well, I think if we're held harmless in the town of Monteagle by the parties, then there's no potential liability.
Well, there's potential liability for the other users.
Yeah.
There may be other people that use that road that are constituent of ours. And if we create a family feud or a property feud, then we've not.
Well, and like a lot of times at closing, you sign documents that say if there's a screw up in the paperwork that you agree to unscrew that.
No, I've seen that more than once, you're right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with you. Then what, are you prepared to get the necessary paperwork or agreements? And we can decide at the next meeting? Do we know what we're going to ask Mr. Fox to get? Can we be specific so we don't go back and forth? What do you all want to see?
Personally, where you want the terminus to be, terminating points to be on both sides. And I think that'll help determine whether it's abandoning a portion of it or all of it. I am not, and maybe you guys may feel differently. I'm not real concerned about the agreements between the other parties that are affected by this. They can sort that. I don't think we should. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think we should be deciding abandonment or not based on whether we like the agreements that they come up with. I don't think that's the city's problem.
Well, I think we need to make sure that it's in the best interest of the town. And so right now, I don't see a compelling interest other than there seems to be some interest expressed by the adjacent landowners. There was a citizen here who said she used the road all the time, right? So there's a competing interest, and I call you out too much, but since we're up here asking to arbitrate this, it seems to make sense to make sure, like, what happens if we abandon it based on the verbal agreements and then they start all feuding and then it gets shut down? And we won't have served anybody in town, I don't think.
So we got the same problem over on North Central, though.
You know, that we've decided, we said that was private.
They did?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not on our city road list and we declined to take action.
Nate, do you maintain it? Does the city maintain that road?
First Street?
Or the property?
We have a former mayor who says that he remembers maintaining it when he was in office last.
Yeah.
It's not much of a road now.
Yeah.
That was when?
So I mean, that's our.
One lane.
Yeah, it's not if you want it, it's not a road. It can't be a road by ordinance.
Well, it can't be a new road by our ordinance, but.
It was new in 2014 because it wasn't there previously, that, my section anyway.
Well, there was certainly, it was open to traffic. It has been. And whether it was recognized.
If you guys want to see something, some sort of agreement between all of them as part of our decision, I'm fine with that. I want to know the beginning of the end.
All right, well, I asked Chris to appear, so what are you comfortable with? What are you looking for the council to do?
I mean, I guess they made their decision, they want to write up with and maybe a map and so that kind of.
I'd like an
That's what we
agreement
have to do.
with all landowners, with adjacent and affected landowners, sign, including Crabtree, saying this is how we will, if the road is abandoned, this is how we will partition it, and this is what's going to happen.
So it's basically.
What's the other option besides abandoning?
I don't think the town has one. We either keep it or don't keep it.
Could we remove the 30-foot right-of-way that's causing him the problem in the first place?
You can declare it surplus and sell it to the highest bidder, or, I mean, that's what the law says.
Yeah.
Or you abandon it, and it goes to property owners and adjoining property owners. They used to, that was the only two.
Well, it was treated improperly to begin with, 30-foot right-of-way. It shouldn't have been. I was never told about it. So just that alone, it is improper. So really, there should be a way to just kind of wipe that 30-foot right-of-way that was put in improperly on our deed.
I mean, Chris, with all due respect, you had to review the deed before you signed it, so you did see it.
I didn't have an attorney, I didn't have anybody present when we did sign.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that happened, and if...
And my contract, you know, I assumed that because I had a contract, why would I assume that that the city told the surveyor to change the property description?
Yeah, there was conversation from the then representative of the city to the surveyor.
I mean, I have
They
that.
had to subtract the road.
So,
So that was controversial. I don't know what happened. That's a
It
story
never
I
came,
heard.
it never came in front of the board, there was no minutes, there was nothing, no discussion whatsoever of this 30-foot right-of-way that was added to our description.
so Nate, if you're concerned about the citizens that may be affected by it or something like that, do we need to have a public hearing about this and have everybody weigh in on it, or are we just talking to the property owners?
Well, I think that's the first step, and then I do believe that for abandonment, we do have to have a public hearing, because we had to have a public hearing when we abandoned Sunset Bluff. So yes, and all that.
Okay.
So should I call for a motion? Do you have anything else to say? Richard or Steve or the train hand? Well, I know that you owned your part of the land, so I don't even know if you're in this or not, other than a neighbor.
The only thing we would have to be, not really reciprocating access, easement, but we would have a cross, property access.
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
Richard, Steve, do you have anything to contribute at this point?
I'm not clear whether it's a city road or not.
Yes.
If it is, the piece that's just our property now between the property and the assembly, and between Richard and the assembly, does that have to be abandoned, or is this really just what Fox needs, just to abandon the part on their property? It's just not 100% clear. Conceptually, I have no problem with working something out, but I just think there's a lot of details once you really get into it. You know, where exactly are we going to put up the gate? Where exactly, you know, does the city still own it and operate it? So I'm just
We
not
put a
sure.
barn over, I put a cul-de-sac in.
Yes, the partial.
The cul-de-sac has to be put in.
Yeah, and we haven't heard it all from Mr. Crabtree either, who's another interested property owner.
Which really wouldn't have been if there wasn't a split of that 30-foot right-of-way.
Do we need to have a surveyor come in and survey this whole thing again based on whatever the latest deeds are, the most best signed deeds, so that we know exactly, because it sounds like there might be a question of whether when you said is this even a public road or not? I mean, or is that part of the park
I've just
property?
heard two different versions, it is and it's not, I don't know.
Right, so do we need a surveyor to determine for us where property boundaries are?
Has the
Like
city
that's our
attorney
jurisdiction.
looked at anything at all?
They will need it. They will.
Well, I mean,
need
that
a
would tell us whether it would tell us whether that road is public or not.
No.
For a portion, would it not?
No, because the road is public because of open and notorious use and maintenance over time, so that,
And on the city, approved city limits.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll accept the motion to resolve the issue.
I don't think there's a motion to be had tonight. I think they've got to come back with what Nate had talked about and where do you want us to abandon, from which point to which point?
Yeah, I would like a drawing that it's signed off by all the landowners that says, this is where we would like it to abandon, we being all the landowners, this is where we would like it abandoned, this is how we're gonna apportion it up, and then we have something that we can act on.
See, the only portion that I'm requesting is the 30-foot that was on the property that I was told I was purchasing. I'm not worried about the rest of that. If you look at the map towards the back of the packet, there's a road map from 1936 where it's a dead end right there. And that was how it was when it became a road or...
At a previous meeting, Mr. Crabtree was pretty vocal about just closing the road, if I remember.
Yeah. I mean, he like he said, it wasn't a road when he was a kid. It was just a path.
All right, let's do this. Can you come back in August with
I prefer a survey than a map because who draws the map? Show what's what on that survey from the deed descriptions and whatever agreements you negotiate with Richard, Steve, Trahan, Crabtree, who's ever involved, and present the packet back to us. Is that doable? Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I didn't really think it would entail all that, but yeah, that's what I have to do.
And it's because if we just close off your portion, then we have affected all your landowners because they no longer have a through road through their street.
Oh, we do, because I mean, we have an agreement with that, sure.
Sure, yeah,
Absolutely.
But the landowners are here.
Yeah, let's put it on paper.
Let's put it on
Let's
paper.
put it on paper.
I mean, yeah, put it on paper, but to your point, the landowners are here.
Then we have to have a public hearing also, with it. That's just.
That has to happen anyway. We can't act.
Anybody have a record
Well,
of it?
so if the 30-foot right of way was improperly created from the beginning, does that still become a street? Is it still proper? Is it still, or is that just null and void because it was improperly created?
I'm not sure
If you broke the law to make it.
To answer your question, your assertion that it was created when it was added to your survey is not something that I agree with. I believe that the town, based on prior maintenance, had an interest in that road prior to that survey. All the survey did was drew our existing interest.
Dean said that it was paved, back in the 80s when he was mayor.
No, not paved, I didn't say paved.
Well, you did actually like 3 meetings ago.
Well,
we were here.
maintained, we don't pay, we will never pave, we don't have a paving machine. We've had tar and chip machines and such as that.
We pay the respective counties that do it.
I understand. But you said at the request of the property owner, it was paved. This was what you said at the time.
Well, I misspoke when I was saying you were
misspoke.
paved.
So what other maintenance, since I've had it, there's been zero maintenance.
Well, there's a bunch of them here.
Yeah, I know.
Well, there's been zero.
There's no maintenance that I know of during my tenure. If there is, it's because we've disrupted a utility easement, we had to fix something, we put the surface back. That's going to
Contact
be
the
the
county, the
extent of
county
our
has no
maintenance.
record of maintenance either, so. If there's no record of maintenance, then it didn't happen.
All right, well, to resolve this, I think they were calling for pieces of paper.
Right.
So if we can get a survey with the footage of where you're going to put the gate and show that, and contact the property
Well,
owner.
I mean, the gate's not necessarily, an issue. It's more or less just the property. Whether or not we put a gate,
Yeah, but it's where your
later.
property ends and where you could put a gate if you want to put a gate. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Just show the boundaries there.
Gotcha.
Whatever you're comfortable with to present, the sooner you get it to us, the sooner we can schedule a public hearing, even if it's a half hour before the August meeting.
And then Nate's request too about some sort of, something written from the
Agreement.
property owners, if that can even be figured out.
I'm sure that can be.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to business permits under new business. This is in the packet. Okay, the first one is Jessica Lusk.
No, that's not the first one.
That's not the first one.
Oh, excuse me, I'm very sorry. Excuse me, I got so confused. New American Funding LLC, is that you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Good, so that's first in the packet, Nate? Great, thank you. Tell us what you do.
My name is Justin Lusk. I live here locally in McMinnville. I work for New American Funding for 7 years now. We're an independent mortgage bank, and this is just establishing an office here in Monteagle.
You're Shane's brother. We've spoken
Oh
on
boy,
the phone a lot.
I don't know to be referred as that, but yes, I
Stay
am.
on topic, all right?
Any aldermen have any questions on this application?
Move to approve.
Just
You just need to list his name as, on the application as the individual. You are,
It's my regional manager who is, I guess, his name by record on there. I'm just an employee of the company, so his is the name of record for the state of Tennessee, Eric Fellows.
And is this is your home address or a home address, or is this a?
No, this is a commercial address right beside the Mountain Goat.
he's been
It's on Laurel Lake Drive.
I'm sorry. Car wash?
I guess so. It's where the Whimsy Willow is.
Either the car wash or the line.
It's been everything. It's been everything. A church apparently at one point in time. And
So it's in the Whimsy Willow building? Or
it's sectioned. Yeah, it's basically sectioned off. There's her store and then there's offices in the other section of the store.
Is there a motion to accept the business permit as submitted? No. Are you making a motion now, Nate? Yes. Is there a second to the motion? Don't get smart, I'm telling you. Thank you, Dave. Any further discussion on the motion?
Is it in the proper zone?
I believe so. Is it done?
Financial institutions are approved for C. Oh, maybe C, it's C1.
We're right there.
So, yes, I've been told yes. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Next one is Jessica.
I would be the representative for that one as well.
Oh. Okay, what can you tell us about VISE?
Vasco Lab Visual Innovation for Social Engagement is essentially a social media content creation, production, marketing company, not specifically related to the real estate industry. It could be all businesses, platforms, but it's just essentially a production marketing company.
Is there a motion to accept?
This is run out of the same building or same office?
Yes,
space?
because that one part is office spaces.
And are you all related?
Jessica is my wife, yes.
Okay.
Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion on the motion? Any further questions from the Alderman? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll accept a motion to accept on first reading ordinance 07-26, adding light manufacturing to the zoning. Is there a motion to accept on
I'll make
first?
a motion to we're amending 0726, aren't we? Isn't that what we're doing?
We're adding the light manufacturing to that zone.
Section 2, Section 545, light manufacturing and sales facility shall be created as follows. Section 545, light manufacturing and sales facility. Is that what mine is? Is that right?
Yes. Did you make the motion? Dean, did you make the motion to accept?
Yes, sir.
Second. Second, thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I'm a little concerned that we don't have a, light manufacturing can mean a lot of different things. I think the description here is incredibly vague. There was one thing here, something about materials, where it says provided use, converted to such use provided most of the noise, odor, dust, glare, and storage of raw materials and finished materials are confined within the enclosed building and stuff. It just seems a little loose for, we've been so adamant about not zoning anything industrial in this town, and all of a sudden we're throwing light industrial without a real definition into this.
Nate or Dan, do you want to address what was discussed at the planning commission? Well, the reality is, it's going to be, if you came in there and you're putting a 12-foot addition on your barn and you need 16 pieces of 13-foot, 6-inch pieces of metal, he's going to roll that metal out and he's going to cut you that many pieces of metal inside that building, and that, whatever that cutter does might make a little flakes of metal inside the buildings.
So I'm not really concerned as much about the specific, this is being done kind of specifically for a business that is coming in. I'm more worried about what we're defining as light manufacturing for anybody else. So I get what you're saying with this particular business that's coming in, but
this is a particular business.
Well,
so
I know
it's not
we're
setting a precedence that we'll just kick the gate open. It's just a matter that this person's gonna do this kind of work, and he's gonna do his work inside the building, and it's not gonna be obtrusive to the atmosphere around it.
Well, what this ordinance is asking for is that in C3, that any light manufacturing and sales facility are going to be allowed from here forth, from this moment forth.
So we had this conversation at the planning commission because that same sentence that bothered you bothered me. And it was explained to us that it was taken from an ordinance that Jasper had done.
Jonathan explained that?
Jonathan explained that that's why he did it that way.
I think he's the one that developed the ordinance, isn't he?
I proposed some language to tighten it up, and in the end, I think the planning commission decided to go with it as it was. Now, the caveat, the thing that keeps that really from happening, Grant, and it's almost a little more problematic than the first, is the last sentence on that page that says the planning commission shall determine whether the proposed use is suitable for the building and the surrounding areas, and may impose any restrictions or conditions upon the light manufacturing operation so as not to allow a use that is incompatible with the intended uses of the C3 zoning district. So this is not creating light manufacturing as a use by right.
I hear you, and I read that sentence too, but I disagreed with you on that, sorry. I think wherever we say the planning commission can, if they don't want to, can do something, we have been in so much trouble over the years from this, and this is just opening up the door for more of the same in terms of getting in trouble when a planning commission is trying to interpret something that doesn't really exist, and they're about to get into somebody. It's way too subjective, in my opinion. I think this needs to be defined. I think light manufacturing needs to have a tighter definition. We could probably still put that planning commission shall determine whether the proposed use is suitable or something, blah, blah, blah. That language we could put in there, but only if it's got more defined definition of what light manufacturing sales is or could be.
So we talked about that as well. I think it's their legitimate concern. We talked about that as well. The way that our planning commission deals with that is they make it a use by special exceptions, and then it triggers the criteria on how to accept or deny, and the board just felt like that was too complicated to do, and they wanted to provide some security for this fella so he could put it under, so he could sign a contract to purchase the
Right, and this is nothing against that particular business or that particular fella. I think we're opening ourselves up. I can tell you, I'm probably not going to support this the way it's written. So if we want to go back to the drawing board and tighten it up, then I'll be glad to include light manufacturing. But that's for y'all. That's just me. That's 4 other people, 5 other people get to vote. 4 of them.
Richard, you had a comment on this specific topic?
I did. This was why is this not in the industrial section instead of in commercial 3? Commercial 3 is strictly defined as being for interstate traffic.
So the reason the planning commission, we talked through this, of course you were there, you're the chair, that he wants to do retail sales, and retail sales aren't allowed in industrial. So there was not a perfect fit for either zone.
Well, light industrial is not allowed. I mean, here again, it doesn't meet the definition of C3. It doesn't meet the definition of, if you read the definition of C3 that the planning commission abides by, it's for interstate traffic. It's for people doing business, interstate traffic, truck stops, record services, convenience stores, motels. Now, I will stipulate for the record that where the people have proposed to put this will be one hell of an improvement from what's over there now. I mean, if a tornado came through and destroyed it, it would be a better improvement from what's there now. And I have no problem with this business. I have no problem with this business going over there. But I think we're on thin ice here if we're putting this in industrial, because according to my talking to Jonathan, our planner, we're on thin ice anyway because we have an industrial zoning, but we don't have any property zoned industrial.
So
Right?
that's why the planner said that we had the opportunity to make an exception. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
I just disagree.
And so they, well, we can disagree. I mean,
Yeah,
I understand.
I understand. I just disagree. I
So
just
that's
think
why
we're
the-
trying to force something into commercial 3 that doesn't fit.
Well, for what else is out there, Richard, I think it fits real well.
I agree with the area 100%, Dan. I agree with the area. I wish 5 more people like this group went in that area. But this area is reserved commercial. There's 2 residences right across the street that we haven't even dealt with that are down there. Because you're going to be putting, in my mind, something that doesn't fit there. So what are we, I mean, if C3, there could be a motel going over there. And we've got an industrial. That same industrial definition that you just read over there could go right beside the Dollar General. Or could go where the truck stop, part of that spot is supposed to be, or any other place that is zoned commercial. So I'm just.
And in Manchester, there's a hospital right next to one.
Good.
So what are you gonna do?
So, well, you know, one of the things, and this is really more, well, it's related a little bit to what he said, but it was really related to a couple of the ordinances that we're going to be talking about when we do with the overlay and then the meatball bulleting of our uses and stuff. I think it's time for the city to have a discussion about dedicating some of that property over there as industrial, and so that we actually have an industrial property zone, and we can go in. I know everybody's concerned about, we don't want any industrial here because we don't want a strip club. Well, we can go in and prohibit the things that we don't want to be an industrial, but still zone some of the things industrial, and then that way this light industrial falls within that category instead of trying to shove it into a commercial 3 districting. So
Right now, we've got a motion and a second.
Right, and I.
Okay, this is discussion of the motion.
All right.
I'm not sure that we can restrict, but that's another subject for another time. Is there any further discussion on the motion? You want a roll call vote?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 And just to wrap it up, Grant, I agree with all your concerns on this, and I would not have voted for it at the Planning Commission, except that we are currently engaged with UT to rethink our C3 and our C2. And so my hope is that we can support business and make this better, because it's not perfect.
I think we need to improve this and make it perfect quicker than later, because if we open up the door for light industrial and all the C3, we could be looking at trouble.
The 11th of August, so to finish it off.
But it's my understanding that this model is going to be similar to Builder's Supply down here in town.
Sure.
So are we going to have this in C1? We want it in C1?
No, this is C3 only.
Right, but I'm saying, we have one currently,
He's saying Builder Supply is there in C1.
and they do the same thing as far as cutting. They'll cut you a piece of plywood or do whatever you
Screen or
rebar
anything you want.
Anything you want. I mean, I don't understand, we gotta have them somewhere.
Well, but I think Grant's point is a good one. If it fits better in industrial, we would have to change our industrial to allow the retail sales, because right now our industrial doesn't allow.
But we don't
retail.
have all that. We've got people that are wanting to come to our community, do business, provide jobs.
And that's why I voted to support it.
Okay.
But I do agree with Grant that we need to do better.
And again, if the business owners are here on this, I have nothing against the business coming in. That is not the problem. It's the problem that we have just changed a whole zoning thing for C3. That's my problem. So anyway, but the vote's done, so let's move on.
All right, and it was a first reading, so now I'll accept a motion to accept on first reading ordinance 08-26, Section 503 for permitted uses. I'm sorry, Section 501 for permitted uses. Is there a motion for that?
I make a motion to accept on the first reading ordinance 08-26, section 501 for permitted uses.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion on the motion?
Yes, a question. On all these permitted uses, how do we know which ones are changed from existing before tonight?
So what this is about, let's find it.
You have to go amended, you got to go line by line, amended verse thing. Yeah, I was hoping for a cheat sheet too.
This is related to the C1 downtown zoning, where we have within the C1 district, this may actually not, this is not correct.
The amended one, keep going. There's an amended one that's got the...
Oh, this is as, okay.
That's right.
Good.
That's got the PS and SS.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go, right there.
So we added more, or if we choose to vote to allow more residential uses on the secondary street portions of the C1, we had to allow secondary streets as a different use category in the use table.
Well, I understand since Grant told me about the amended thing here and the other, I couldn't.
Yeah, I didn't know it was in there either. I had scrolled it for it. But that's the only difference.
Is there any other discussion on the motion?
This is not the overlay, correct?
Correct.
No, the overlay is next.
This is the amended use table related to the overlay.
Overlay's the next one.
Any further discussion on first reading of ordinance 08-26?
Is this
Roll
second?
call or no first? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, I'll accept the motion to accept on first reading ordinance 10-26, no, I'm sorry, 09-26, section 306, downtown overlay. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay. Motion's been made and second. Discussion on the motion?
So this is, we're actually approving these in exactly reverse from how we talked about them initially. This is the idea that in areas with adequate water and sewer adjacent to our downtown, there should be ways for landowners, if they choose, to add additional density. So this does not take away any of the rights within the current residential zoning district, but it allows for them to create greater density in a couple of different ways. It overlays rather than being a zoning change because it affects several different zoning districts that are adjacent to Main Street. So it's for 3 blocks north of Main Street and the same south of Main Street.
On the north side, didn't they use the south side of 2nd Street or 3rd Street or something? Wasn't that?
Yeah, I think that's where it landed. I think it landed on 3rd Street.
Yeah.
It involves site standards concerning parking, fences and walls, equipment limitations, and so forth.
District boundaries. East of Central Avenue and south of 3rd Street and west of Lee Avenue. All the closed areas south of Church Street and Moffett Street, east of Catherine and west of Spring Street.
Considered downtown.
What if any were the planners' concerns? I mean, this is kind of a dramatic thing we're doing here compared to what has been. I mean, I know it's other places. We didn't invent it. But as far as the concerns of the negative side of this, turning into overuse of adjoining property that's not in the overlay, like if you're on the north side of 3rd Street versus the south side, as there gonna be a parking issue, or is there gonna be?
Crowding or
So unlike the downtown C1 district, the residential overlay does require parking for new developments. And that's when we get to C1, we'll talk about that, because they did not require that. The C1 ordinance does not require that for C1, but it does require it in the residential.
And noise ordinance would have,
All that is all remains unchanged. So there were some concerns from the planning commission around what type of multifamily housing to be. In addition, in particular, there was a concern, Katie, you remember, what was it called? Short-term hostels and short-term group living quarters. So we went in and defined that and limited the amount of time period that was there. So the idea was there are some business models out there that allow for short-term hosteling for outdoor recreationalists in particular that we thought would be appealing in this area, but we wanted to make sure that we were not just putting in low rent. And also we needed to make sure that we did not conflict with the hostel and group living allowances within the institutional district of the assembly. And so we worked to make sure that we weren't conflicting with anything that the assembly was doing, and we also limited the duration of stay to make sure that we're just focused on short-term occupancy.
but as far as the assembly, we're not going into the institutional.
Correct, but we didn't want to make a conflict in the zoning ordinance. Because they allow that is the only other zoning district that allows for short-term group living quarters.
And these permitted uses like the hostels, that is not on the primary. I mean, how does the overlay go all the way to Main Street?
No, the overlay does not affect C1 at all. It is only adjacent residential districts. So the C1, anything we're talking about on Main Street and then C1 is the next ordinance we're talking about.
But it could be on College Street.
No, College Street is considered the downtown. It's a secondary street of the downtown C1 corridor.
So the overlay does not, okay. So it doesn't affect the secondary or primary.
Correct.
So if somebody wanted to open up a homeless shelter there and call it a hostel, they could do that?
No, so how did we deal with that? Let's see. We gamed that out, but now you're going to ask me to remember how we did it.
Doesn't look like it in the definition. Other than the 30 days, but that's,
I don't think that's a concern really, that there's going to be sufficient capital to do that. We don't generally see those things built.
Well, I'm not implying that it would. I'm just looking worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Or best case, if you're homeless or unhoused or whatever the process would be.
But that was a big point of conversation, and so we dealt with that by defining it different. I think we added the word hostel to that short-term group living quarter.
and what was the reasoning behind even including it in the first place, so that we wouldn't be confused at all?
Because there is an increasing call for that in outdoor recreation center communities. So there's one, the one that is, now I'm not gonna think of its name. It's over just off of East Main. There's one in Chattanooga that went in, the Crash Pad.
Yeah, I'm just not sure our community needs to fill that need.
There's one in Tracy, next to Hanks.
Well, Hanks is running an Airbnb, which is short-term rental, which I
I
guess
thought it was a hostel.
it probably is, does meet that definition. Yeah. And it's
Well, hang on,
pretty
how do you distinguish between a hostel and an Airbnb then?
centralized access to facilities. So a hostel may or may not have private rooms. And so Hanks doesn't. Or Hanks does have some private rooms, and then they've got some that aren't, I think.
I'm not gonna hold this up, but I would prefer just to kind of remove that definition in general, but I'm not gonna hold it up, so.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll accept a motion to accept on first reading ordinance 10-26, changing the zoning, changing zoning. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion?
So this is the downtown C1 corridor. So this was the original conversation we had about how we could make the C1 more amenable to commercial development. So it does several things. It allows for smaller lot sizes. It allows for smaller buildings. It does away with the parking requirement, though it does encourage folks to require adequate parking. But if you think about the downtowns of old, even the downtown Monteagle of old, they did not require the types of parking that our current zoning ordinance requires. So that was really the biggest point of conversation among the planning commission, and we wrestled with this for a long time. But the idea is that if we have new businesses that come downtown and we begin to see that there are going to be some parking problems, that will be a great problem to fix. Because right now our downtown is full of a whole lot of empty lots. And I think we have options as a municipality and working with our businesses to make sure that we can solve that problem. I would love to say that as soon as we pass this, the next day the whole downtown is going to fill up with new buildings, but I think that's probably not likely the case. I think the thing to think about is places like Fox Pond and the Trade Hands buildings would not be allowed under our current zoning ordinance, and those are beautiful buildings that we would like, historic buildings that we would like to see allowed again. So this allows those buildings to be built.
Any discussion on the motion?
Geographic boundaries are outlined in
The current zoning of C1, so we didn't change any, the definitions are related to primary and secondary streets. So for those of y'all who haven't been following this forever, one of the things that the consultant that was working with us said is that we simply, Monteagle is a small town and we want it to stay a small town. And so we're never going to have enough rooftops, enough people living in Monteagle to probably fill up the entire commercial corridor from City Hall to 41. It's just not very likely to happen. So what they did was they made a primary downtown, which is from Catherine Avenue, where CVS is, to I believe the elementary school, and they did Main Street and College, so that there can be some density there. It's a primary downtown street, which means it's going to have the things that you expect in a downtown. But they also created a secondary street downtown portion, which is the stuff outside of what I just mentioned, where you can do all those things that you would and could and should be able to do in a downtown from a commercial standpoint, but you can also have some additional residential options with the idea that you're creating more uses again in that downtown corridor. So that's the difference between primary and secondary street.
How'd you deal with parking?
So residential does require parking.
Residential does require parking.
Any further discussion on the motion?
and I'm assuming it's like every other ordinance, as the years go by and we miss something, it can be amended in whatever way, more stringent, less stringent, add to, take away from.
Absolutely. This is just changing our C1 ordinance, so it's as easy as any change to C1.
It's not in the charters like every other ordinance.
Right.
Subject to amendments.
Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On first reading of ordinance 11-26, adding data centers to section 501. Is there a motion to accept on first reading?
I'll accept on first reading the ordinance 11-26, add data centers to section 501.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion on the motion?
So
Get through downtown.
I just think it's kind of ridiculous that when we come up with a use that we don't like, we just put it in industrial because we know we have no industrial property or no industrial zone. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think it opens us up for legal things. I'm not saying I want a data center up here by any means. I'm just saying the way that we're going about this, and it goes back to my comment from before, that you can't just throw things in a bucket that we don't want because we don't have it. Somebody eventually is going to come in and create an industrial piece of property or zone or what. I don't know. I don't understand why we aren't dealing with this in a different way by just saying we don't allow data centers in the city, as opposed to throwing it into a zoning thing that we don't technically have.
The only approach available to us by way of the plan.
Well, you could probably put it in whatever, and go through the conditional use BZA approach. It wouldn't be any different. We used to have an industrial zone, and we changed that at the request of the owner of the property, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And the city dropped the ball when they have not defined an area for an industrial zone, simply because of the legality that I think we are required to do that.
Well, nobody's requested it. And that's the thing, if you have one property that's listed that's zoned industrial, the property owner requested to have it changed. Nobody's requested any change to industrial zoning, so I don't think it's as dire as it's being made out to be. I think in this instance, the main problem, the problem is less about where we put a data center. It's about creating a definition of a data center and saying where it is allowed. Because otherwise, at least according to Jonathan, it could be applied to any of our commercial districts.
Yeah, that was what I was saying.
And so this simply creates a commercial district. Now, if somebody wants to build a data center, they come here and they identify a piece of property and they say, hey, we'd like to put a data center here. Would you rezone it industrial? Then we have a conversation to have with them. And if we choose not to do that, I think you're right. We could have some problems. But right now, we don't have it. And to the earlier point, those folks didn't ask for it. And I don't know why they didn't ask for it other than this retail. They could have just as easily asked for a rezoning and asked for retail to have been allowed in industrial. And then we would have had that conversation.
Well, it just seems like it's all a big screwed up thing.
I guess, is somebody telling me that the state won't allow us to have something in our charter ordinances or something that says we do not allow data centers?
I had brought that up before, but wait, let me recognize Katie first.
What we were told at the same meeting was that they're working on a comprehensive state definition for the data centers. And so that this would be a good first step for us while they're working on that definition. I don't know if that helps.
No, I knew that the state, all the states are doing this right now. I mean, everybody's trying to figure out how can we avoid getting a data center. I would be surprised that we don't have the legal authority to say we don't want it here within our city boundaries.
We couldn't support one just in the name of utilities.
I know that, but I mean, just legally, I'm just saying.
I don't think we have the authority to turn away something that is an acceptable business in the United States.
I think that's right.
So you're saying if somebody comes in and says, I want to put the Booby Bungalow up in somewhere, and so will you change that to industrial for me?
No. Yes, they can do that. They can do that tomorrow.
And what would be your reasoning of saying no?
Because we've got the 5 rules that need to be followed when looking at a rezoning request that have to be answered before we do a rezoning request. And if we answer those questions adequately. You don't have to do a
And
rezoning.
you're confident that that if somebody came in and asked, instead of for a strip club, they asked for a data center, that those 5 things would not be met as well?
No, maybe they would. And then you have the mayor's point. There probably ain't enough water to support the data center anyway. So that's your secondary.
So, but if there is adequate utilities and everything, and it's a legitimate business, and we just, because we don't like that business, then they go to court, and the court will order that they be given
So
a
we
business
accept that
license.
business?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, that's how it's always been.
Is there any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Two, one abstention.
Did you accept?
Yes. So what do we have? 3?
We'd have ask for the roll call, don't we?
Did you need a roll call on that? Do you want a roll call?
It's been requested for a roll call vote. Go ahead.
Jim,
Yes.
Grant,
No.
Dan,
Yes.
Yes.
Same. Okay, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
One question before we do that.
Yes?
Did I miss the street department? I
No.
thought we were gonna talk about the striping on College Street.
Yes, we
Good
did.
catch.
I got a proposal, as you saw in your packets, to stripe College Street with a double yellow in the middle and a white border on either side of the street from
Assembly Avenue to DuBose. So what's your pleasure on that?
You're just wanting to bid that out and then,
I got a bid from the only one that's doing striping now, is Volunteer Striping. They're the ones that, they provided me information that did the College, Main Street and other striping. They're probably the only striping company left. I asked about England, that was another striping company. Volunteer bought England. So I don't know how
are they
many.
the ones that did the striping down between McDonald's and Sonic? That's already gone away.
Yeah, no, that, they did not do that.
And what's the bid price?
1,400, I think.
1404.
1,400.
And we had originally talked about, we were going to stripe this. Part of the reason was to find out about parking, available parking. So, I mean, is it a little bit of waste of money to stripe it and then go back and have to restripe it if we determine that we want parking on there?
So I asked Nate about that, and he said this was step one, but he wasn't ready to create any of the parking or do any of the block topping or whatever. Is that correct?
So the mayor and I went out and pulled a tape measure, and we could all do that if you'd like. So we're talking about 9.5 foot wide travel lanes, which leaves enough room for off-street parking on both sides of the street. So it wouldn't need to be redone again. It would simply create an area of pavement on both sides of the white line. Right now, it doesn't have a white line on it. So the appearances are that it's got 50-foot travel lanes.
We've
Well,
been
in
getting
College-
into the greenway a little bit.
Well, College Street has always been screwed up. Traffic is passing and going, and then the other thing we talked about was doing some to see how effective it was during the fog. Did we talk about that as being one of the considerations and do a test run for that? And then I think you brought up about College Street, but College Street is horrible anywhere, from Assembly Avenue back to probably Lee Street, I guess.
The painting.
Well, as far as traffic, the width of the lane, and if somebody, like at the Presbyterian Church, people park out in the edge of the road, there's no stripe there, so why can't we?
So we could if we wanted to. So thinking about the Fox Pond area, I think we decided we're about 8 inches shy the way their porch comes out. By doing 9.5 foot travel lanes, it's actually a little narrow. It only ends up being 7 feet in front of their business. So it gives them some parking opportunities, but they're pretty narrow. We could go with a 9-foot travel lane, take 6 inches off each side and give people a little bit more room. Thought 9.5 was just a little bit. 9.5 is the same lane width we have on Main Street right now. So that Main Street right now is a 9.5 travel lane and an 11.5 turning lane. This, of course, wouldn't have an 11.5 turning lane.
But I think the worst part of College Street is probably the south side as far as defining.
Yeah, and there's almost enough room there, particularly in front of, if you stripe it at 9.5, you end up with 18 feet deep of 90-degree parking, which is really adequate for 90-degree parking, but we don't treat it as 90-degree parking. And that gets back to the C1 conversation. There are more opportunities for parking within the public sphere than I think we realize. And this was an example. I try to see what A, striping did in the fog, and B, also see about helping people understand that there are more options there.
So the striping you're going to do is for that 9.5 feet that you talked about, just for the travel lane?
Yeah, really the only change is that we're putting white lines on College Street. And I do think it's worth, if y'all want to talk about it, do we have a 9.5-foot travel lane or a 9-foot travel lane? A 9-foot is probably adequate for the speed that we think people are going to go there, but 9.5 gives particularly the trucks going to Builder Supply a little bit more room to breathe.
Most people just drive outside the line if they're scared of.
I didn't even know there was a line there.
There isn't a line. There's not a line.
It's imaginary.
It'll take a while for people to get used to. What typically putting a white line does where there isn't one is it does tend to slow traffic because people feel more constrained. But then said it also opens up opportunities for parking.
And is this going to, now that you define, especially on the Greenway side, where you define that right-hand boundary, is it going to create it's going to create something where people are going to start parking in the grass and the greenways to try and squeeze into that side?
No, just the opposite. So that parking is short. So, you talk to people at the fire hall, they say, well, we can't park in front of the fire hall. That parking's too short. Well, the parking's not actually too short. The gravel part is too short. But once you have the white line paved, you'll see there's going to be like 5 feet of asphalt.
So this would end up being perpendicular parking.
It could be.
As opposed to like pull off and be with that parallel parking.
Parallel parking, yeah. So there's room for parallel parking from the police station down to Assembly Avenue. There seems to be. We're not, like I said, we're not going to stripe it that way. It would cost significantly more to do that alternate striping, and that's something that you do when you need everybody to follow the rules to pack cars in, and we're not there yet.
Well, you want to resurface some areas where you do that.
Exactly.
And that's what I had asked, and they said we weren't there yet. You just want to establish some striping. The last meeting, you asked me to get a price. I got a price, so what do you want to do?
And how is that road in good enough shape, or it doesn't need to be repaired before we stripe it?
The best street we have.
Yeah, no, there are no repairs there.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid from American Give her the information.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second the motion.
Is there any further discussion on the motion?
We'll find out the next meeting.
That's true.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, I said, I'll call volunteers.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
You got anything else?
No, there's nothing else.
I didn't do hardly anything tonight. It's 7:20, and it's not